Welcome to our short stories. Sit back and enjoy a brief tale crafted just for you, filled with rich vocabulary and elegant phrasing. BYE, Boost Your English, Episode 10, The Salamander Brooch. Hello, and welcome back to BYE, Boost Your English. Today, we're taking a journey into Victorian London, a city of contrasts, shrouded in fog and mystery. Our objective is to master rich, descriptive vocabulary and explore how we use English to paint vivid pictures of places and emotions. We'll follow the story of a young seamstress and a mysterious object that changes her life. Let's step back to the autumn of 1888. It was a wet autumn in 1888, and a persistent fog was blanketing the streets of London. Eliza, a 19-year-old seamstress with nimble fingers and a dreamy heart, lived in a small flat above her father's shop, near Covent Garden Market. Her days were marked by the rustle of silk and the clicking of her thimble. But her nights were spent reading adventure novels, dreaming of something bigger than the city's crowded alleys. One evening, as she was heading home, her eye was drawn to a strange little object in a dark alley, a silver brooch in the shape of a salamander, which seemed to glow with a soft light. As she picked it up, she felt an unexpected warmth spread through her hand. At that very moment, the streetlights flickered, casting dancing shadows on the brick walls. The next day, the strange occurrences began. A customer who had lost a pearl necklace the day before entered the shop. Without thinking, Eliza felt a guiding presence. She closed her eyes, and a fleeting image of a small bird, moments before, at the bottom of a drawer, appeared in her mind. She told the customer the exact location. The puzzled customer found her item there and was astonished. Eliza understood that the brooch had given her a gift. Encouraged by this incident, Eliza decided to venture out. Her first destination was the bustling docks of the East End. The air was heavy, saturated with the smells of tar, fish, and spices from distant lands. Using her new ability, she helped a family find their missing son, who was hiding out of fear in the hold of a ship. The relief on their faces brought her a deep sense of joy. Her journey then led her through the heart of the city, to the elegant district of Mayfair. There, horse-drawn carriages and impeccable tweed suits were commonplace. She found herself at a social reception to which she hadn't been invited, and her magic led her to a young man who was desperately searching for a stolen manuscript. His name was Alistair, a young writer in search of recognition. As Eliza described the manuscript's location, their eyes met, and an invisible bond was formed between them. The brooch seemed to guide her to situations where her gift would be most useful. She found herself in Soho, an eclectic neighborhood full of theaters and restaurants, and also with hints of sinister affairs that were taking place there. A butcher, who was preparing kidney pies in his shop, had lost a family ring. Eliza found it in a sack of flour. The butcher offered her a slice of pie. The aromas from the stall, braised beef with onion, salted meats, and broths, reminded her of home. The smell of food in 19th century London was a mix of these aromas and the stench of sores, but for Eliza, it held the best parts. The next day, Alistair appeared at her father's shop with a bouquet of pansies. He told her he had found the manuscript and was so fascinated by her gift that he wanted to know more. Eliza, at first shy, told him her story. Alistair, far from judging her, was captivated. He decided to write a novel about her and her power. They saw each other often. He told her about his investigations, his curiosity about unsolved cases, and one day, laughing, he said, "I was almost going to ask for advice from a certain detective. He's apparently brilliant, a bit eccentric, and lives on Baker Street." One day, the detective arrived. No, not the one from Baker Street, a Scotland Yard detective. He had heard about the young woman who performed miracles. He asked her if she had seen the infamous criminal. Eliza, guided by her magic, found herself in one of the posh neighborhoods, where the streets were a bit safer and where one could see the city's rooftops. There, a fleeting vision of a man boarding a boat to leave the city came to her. Using her magic, she managed to get a precise description of the man's suitcase, his appearance, and the clothes he was wearing. She informed the detective, who left. Eliza's vision came true. The man was arrested on the quay of a boat bound for the Americas. The brooch, meanwhile, stopped glowing, as if its mission had been completed. Eliza and Alistair spent their time exploring the city together, sharing steaming cups of tea in cafes and strolling through the leafy parks. Alistair's story, inspired by Eliza's magic, became a success. They married, and even though the brooch had become just a piece of jewelry, their love was a magic all its own. What a fantastic story of mystery, historical detail, and romance. We've used powerful adjectives like nimble, persistent, and sinister to bring 1888 London to life. Key vocabulary and expressions explained. Shrouded, covered or enveloped so as to be concealed from view. For example, the ancient castle ruins were completely shrouded in thick morning fog. Nimble, quick and light in movement or action, particularly with the hands or feet. For example, the dressmaker's nimble fingers worked quickly to stitch the delicate lace onto the gown. Persistent, continuing firmly or obstinately in a course of action or remaining unchanged despite difficulty, opposition, or time. For example, she finally went to see her GP because of a persistent cough that would not clear up. Rustle, to make a soft, muffled crackling sound, typically caused by the movement of dry leaves, paper, or silk fabric. For example, I heard the gentle rustle of papers as the clerk searched through the supply cupboard. Fleeting, lasting for a very short time or passing swiftly. For example, he caught a fleeting glimpse of the old steam train before it disappeared into the dark tunnel. Bustling, full of energetic activity, noise, and people moving about in a busy manner. For example, the market square was bustling with traders and shoppers early on Saturday morning. Saturated, thoroughly soaked or holding as much moisture as can possibly be absorbed. For example, the ground in the public park was completely saturated after 3 days of heavy rain. Impeccable, in accordance with the highest standards or completely faultless. For example, her business attire was absolutely impeccable during the interview at the London firm. Eclectic, deriving ideas, style, or taste from a broad and diverse range of varied sources. For example, the restaurant's decor is quite eclectic, mixing modern art with traditional Victorian furniture. Sinister, giving the distinct impression that something harmful, dangerous, or evil is happening or is about to happen. For example, the abandoned warehouse at the edge of the docks looked rather sinister in the dark. Stench, a strong, foul, and highly unpleasant smell. For example, the stench from the blocked sewage system filled the narrow street until the maintenance team arrived. Leafy, containing or covered with a large amount of green leaves or trees. For example, they chose to live in a quiet, leafy suburb just a short tube ride away from the city centre. Remember that mastering descriptive language is what allows you to transport your listener to any place or time. The comments are now open on YouTube, so please feel free to share your reactions, ideas, and requests in the spirit of mutual respect. Thank you for joining me. Keep boosting your English. Bye for now.
Boost your English, it's the key!